Welcome back to the quarterly call. All content is for informational purposes and is not investment advice. Please consult with an investment professional. Today, we're looking at Palantir Technologies' first quarter for 2025. We've gone through the earnings call transcript, and there's definitely a lot to unpack, some really striking numbers, especially stateside.
Absolutely. The momentum seems, well, pretty significant. The transcript gives us a good roadmap for what they're seeing and what's driving it.
Okay, so let's start with those top-line financials. Pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, overall revenue up 39% year over year. That's strong growth by, any standard.
But the U.S. numbers, those really jump out, up 55% year over year.
Exactly. And now the U.S. makes up, 71% of their entire business? That's a huge concentration.
And digging deeper, the U.S. commercial side, that's even more dramatic.
71% growth year over year there. I mean, that's accelerating fast.
It really is. And they mentioned hitting a $1 billion annual revenue run rate for U.S. commercial in Q1.
That's right. Crossing that billion-dollar threshold, even on a run rate basis, is a big milestone. Shows scale.
So it's not just growing, it looks, well, profitable too. They talked about the Rule of 40 score.
They hit 83 on the Rule of 40, which is, exceptionally strong.
Remind us quickly, Rule of 40 is?
It's basically your revenue growth rate plus your profit margin, or in their case, adjusted free cash flow margin. Anything over 40 is considered good for a SaaS company.
So 83 is?
Yeah, really good.
Very good. It suggests they're balancing that rapid growth with solid cash generation. They reported $370 million in adjusted free cash flow, too.
And they raised their guidance for the full year as well.
They did. Seems confident about the rest of 2025.
Okay, so what's powering all this, especially that U.S. commercial surge? They kept saying unrelenting demand for AIP.
Right, AIP, their artificial intelligence platform, they're positioning it as the way companies actually use large language models effectively.
How so? What makes it different? The key, according to them, is the ontology. It's sort of the semantic layer, the map of a company's data.
Okay.
So you have all this data, right? The ontology defines what it means, how it connects. AIP then uses that structure to let AI actually, do useful things, make decisions, understand context.
Gotcha. So it's not just the raw LLM, it's how it plugs into the business data meaningfully.
Precisely. That's their argument for why it drives real business outcomes, not just interesting experiments.
And the contract numbers seem to back that up. The U.S. commercial TCV, total contract value. That figure was huge.
Oh, yeah. $810 million booked in Q1. That's up 183% compared to last year's Q1. Massive jump.
183%. And doubling the number of deals over $1 million.
Doubled. It suggests they're not just landing more deals, but bigger, more strategic ones, real commitments from large companies.
They gave some examples, didn't they, about how quickly customers were ramping up?
They did. There was one, a healthcare company, went from a boot camp, sort of an initial trial, to a $26 million annual contract in like 5 weeks.
5 weeks? Wow.
Yeah, very fast. And a global bank expanding significantly just months after starting. A Fortune 500 healthcare player, too, converting to a large deal.
That suggests the platform sticks, right? Once companies try it, they see the value quickly and double down.
That seems to be the narrative, yes. Quick deployment, rapid value realization, leading to bigger commitments. It combats that idea of long, drawn-out implementations.
And they had customer quotes, too. Walgreens, AIG.
Right. Walgreens talking about automating billions with a B of decisions daily.
Billions.
And AIG expecting Palantir to help double their 5-year compound annual growth rate. I mean, those are serious claims from major clients.
Yeah, that's not just Palantir saying it works. That's the customers themselves attributing significant impact. Powerful validation.
Definitely.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The U.S. government side also saw pretty strong growth, right?
It did. 45% year over year. Still a very important part of their business.
And that includes more work with the Department of Defense. Maven Smart System.
Correct. Expanding existing programs like Maven, and notably, NATO also adopted the Maven system as their AI mission command solution.
NATO adopting it. That's a significant endorsement.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Speaks to the capability and the trust in the platform at an international level among key allies.
They also talked about offering commercially fielded, battle-hardened products and how that fits with government trying to be more efficient.
Yeah, the idea is instead of building everything bespoke from scratch, which takes forever and costs a fortune,
Right.
you use proven commercial tech that's already been tested, hardened in real world, sometimes, battlefield conditions. It's faster, potentially cheaper, and avoids creating shelfware.
Shelfware being stuff that gets bought but never really used effectively.
Exactly. They're positioning themselves as the opposite, delivering tangible operational value quickly. That resonates when budgets get tighter.
Which brings us back to AI and that ontology again. They seem to be saying that's the core of how they deliver on AI promises.
It really seems to be the linchpin of their strategy. They argue you can't just throw an LLM at enterprise data and expect magic. You need that structure, that understanding the ontology provides.
To translate the AI potential into
Yeah,
actual work getting done.
precisely. And moving towards what they call enterprise autonomy, where AI agents aren't just tools, but active participants working alongside humans.
Human AI teams.
Yes. They gave examples like an AI underwriting agent at AIG, or AI assisting intelligence analysis in defense, or monitoring for sepsis in hospitals, trying to make it concrete.
Okay. And outside of the pure data AI space, they mentioned Warp Speed, their manufacturing OS.
Right, warp speed. Continued strength there, apparently exceeding expectations. They see it as part of America's reindustrialization.
Working with defense contractors, but also more traditional manufacturers.
Both, it seems, new defense players and the established ones, applying their data integration approach to the complexities of modern manufacturing.
Interesting diversification. And then there was Titan.
Ah, yes, the Titan program for the U.S. Army. They delivered the first vehicles on time, on budget.
Which is notable in defense procurement.
Very notable. And they highlighted that Palantir, a software company, is the prime contractor for this military vehicle program.
That is unusual. What does that signify?
It really underscores this shift towards software being the defining element, even in hardware systems. The intelligence, the integration. It's driven by software. Palantir managing the whole thing is a big statement.
So tying it together, their competitive advantage,
Mm-hmm.
it always comes back to the ontology, doesn't it?
Seems so. They claim it lets them deliver value in days or weeks, not months or years.
That speed we talked about.
Exactly. And that it uniquely enables these mixed human AI teams because the AI has that deep contextual understanding from the ontology.
And how does this play into the government budget discussion? They seemed almost happy about potential cuts.
Well, happy might be strong, but they see it as an opportunity. Their view is that tighter budgets force a focus on meritocracy.
Meaning only the stuff that actually works gets funded.
That's the idea. Less tolerance for expensive projects with unclear outcomes, or shelfware. They believe when systems get pen-tested by budget pressure, their value proposition stands out.
Interesting take. Confidence in their own delivery, basically.
Seems that way.
What about outside the U.S.? They carved out continental Europe, but mentioned growth elsewhere.
Right. The business excluding continental Europe grew 49%. So strong growth internationally, too, though the big focus is clearly the U.S. right now.
Targeted growth, maybe. Asia, Middle East.
That's what they indicated. Focusing efforts where they see the best commercial opportunities internationally while prioritizing the U.S. surge.
And that point about software first, especially in defense, with Titan as an example.
Yeah, building the hardware around the software capabilities, it's a different way of thinking, reversing the traditional model.
And they think the U.S. has an edge there because of software strengths.
They do. They contrasted this sort of iterative, agile culture of software development with traditional hardware cycles, suggesting the U.S. is better positioned for this hybrid, software-centric future in defense tech.
It's a compelling argument about future capabilities.
It is. And it aligns with their core mission, providing that unfair advantage, as they put it, to the U.S. and its allies, leveraging that software edge.
Right. They're very clear about who they work with and who they don't. Emphasis on competence, ethics, meritocracy.
That's consistently part of their messaging.
Okay, so wrapping up. Q1 2025 looks like a banner quarter for Palantir. Huge U.S. growth, both commercial and government.
Driven heavily by demand for AIP, underpinned by that ontology concept, they're seeing rapid adoption, big contracts.
And they're leaning into trends like government efficiency and the shift to software-first systems.
Exactly. Positioning themselves as delivering tangible, rapid value in complex environments.
So maybe a final thought for you, the listener. What are the long-term implications if software truly becomes the core driver in sectors like defense, like manufacturing?
Yeah, and how does that focus on measurable, fast results change how big organizations, governments, how they actually buy and invest in technology? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Quarterly Call. For more episodes, please remember to rate and follow our show. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.